thing. Nerd, boop. That's us. We're live.
All right.
We're here. I'm back.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm getting a little more into streaming. I kind of took a break
Oh.
for I don't know if it was 6 months or whatever, and I
Hmm.
wanted, especially when Band of the Crow launched, because Arvid's a good guy and we've chatted quite a bit, and you've
Yeah.
come on just to shoot the shit too. We've talked like
Hmm.
history, historical fiction
Yeah.
type stuff. And so I wanted to let people like just help a little bit. My channel's so small, but help a little bit with Band of the Crow. Like we call it the Narwhal Nuge. That's my wrestling move that helps you. Is
Nice.
but yeah, so I
Yeah.
am going to share the screen here, and
All right.
then and so we'll go over this real fast, and we can chat about
Yeah.
some other stuff. And thanks everyone for being here. We got Praetor 7, we got Dale
What's
A,
up?
got
Okay.
Moromi. I'm curious.
Romy.
One of the things I do is I single out people and I pressure them to back it. So Praetor 7, have you backed yet? Dale A, have you backed yet? Darren, I feel like he has. He's kind of your boy. He's in the corner.
Oh my God. Darren's the best. What's up, Darren? Good to see you.
Moromi's
Oh,
here.
Romy. Good to see you.
And so with this though, there's like an unprecedented move that you guys are doing. A little, if it's like a marketing move, but
Yeah.
it's like I want to draw people's attention to the price. So it's
Hmm.
the main cover. It says main cover plus the digital. This is not like the digital. This is the in person,
Right.
like shipped to your door, and you also get the digital. It's $3.
Right.
So and it's $2 shipping, which it won't tell you that unless you click on it, or it's like,
Yeah.
is it $3 shipping or something?
$3. You have to sign up for our email newsletter, and you get free shipping in the continental United States. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can sign up. Ooh, how many signups do you have so far?
We have like 480 people on our MailChimp news list. I'm trying to keep below 500 because then you have to like pay a monthly fee to MailChimp. So every time I get a new like sign up, I take off someone with like a lousy like 1-star review. I get them off. So
Okay.
481. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I noticed that too. Some of those mail lists, they're like grandfathered people in, and they're allowed
Yeah.
to have like 10,000. I'm like,
Right.
I want the grandfather
Right.
treatment.
I know. I know.
How come
Me
I have to be
too.
treated like a
I
new
know.
person?
I know. I
Yeah,
know. I know.
I've been using Email Octopus for
Yeah.
one, but
Oh,
that
okay.
one's that's for I feel like that one has a higher threshold, is like one of
Hmm.
the selling points,
Yeah.
but that was just for like a newsletter, so that one's only at like 300, I think,
Hmm.
that I have for that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah, I've
yeah,
heard it's good. I don't know. I have it on Mailchimp. I don't know. That's just what I'm using. So yeah, yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
so it is fascinating, and it is like kind of fun. So it's $3. So I just
Right,
want everyone to wrap your head around that. So $3 and $3 shipping and or free. Like
right.
free if you give Arvid your email,
Yes,
it's $3
that's right.
for the book shipped to your door.
Right,
Like that's cheaper than if you go to a
right.
comic store.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like this is what so when
Yeah.
you say that, it's like, oh, like it's doing good. This is great. But it's like this, like I want this to be like 1,000 at least. And
Thank you.
by the time it closes, like it's like you think like, man, it could be like I kind of I'm like, it's like $3. I'm like,
Yeah.
it'd be cool if like everyone who reads comics online should check
Right,
this out.
right, right,
But and if you do that, then the number should be like 30,000 or
right,
something.
right. Pear,
And for
hey,
people to
Pear,
know about it, but
Pear, you know what? Thank you. You're one of the good ones. I
oh yeah,
just really appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for getting the word out about this. Yeah, I'm losing money on every single one of these. We're kind of doing this as like a stealth campaign. Our first game, this is like just me figuring out Indiegogo. Like we're trying to figure out TikTok pixels and the
okay,
events API and generating access tokens and running the posts, running the script for your conversion. So now I'm just figuring things out for this campaign. So,
yeah. So
so yeah,
you might. It's not like you might not even want this to get like 30,000 sales.
here, right. And I saw it. Dale A. Thank you, Alex. Everyone, seriously, back this now. Seriously, back this now. We're kind of keeping this a little bit stealth for right now, kind of on purpose. So yeah. Thank you, Dale. Yeah, $3. It's orange colored. Man, we could not find a colorist that. Mm. So Oren is actually coloring it himself now.
Yeah, that's cool. That fits with the graphic album style that you
Yeah,
guys are doing.
yeah, yeah.
Does it slow it down to a frustrating degree, or is it it's going okay. The pace of
It's incredibly
production.
frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating, but I don't think Orrin nor me want to sacrifice the quality. I think we have a clear idea of what we want the coloring to look like. We
Yeah,
just cannot find someone who's capable of doing it. I mean, we've met a lot of great colorists, but you know what's happened? I'm old enough to remember when the switch over from like Ruby Lith style coloring to like Photoshop digital coloring. Wow, it was amazing in 1994. But in my opinion, comics coloring has gotten really stale and really boring.
yeah,
So
yeah, and
yeah,
it is really fun, all the coloring. Yeah, so I read the pages. This other thing, you can read the beginning, and it's a lot of fun. It's
yeah,
great. And I noticed something right away
yeah,
is that I really liked is that the trolls, they are not, it's like a classic pitfall
yeah.
potentially for fantasy, is they are not cannon fodder. They are not
Yes,
like some like nameless baddies
right,
that can be genocided without a second thought.
right,
Like they clearly all have characterization, they have culture. You pick this up
right.
just from the first 7 pages and a few lines of dialogue.
Oh, good.
But
I'm
you
so
can
glad to hear
imagine
that.
like a book that doesn't do that,
Right,
where it's almost like a video game. Like, oh shit, trolls are here. All
right,
right, start killing them. Blah blah blah.
right,
I got 50. You got,
right, right.
and so that's, and then there's a clue too because there's a, looks like one of the main characters is a troll. This guy looks like he might be a
Yeah,
troll.
he's half troll, half human. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that's cool.
yeah. It's
Or
funny. I'm writing the
and
second novel now. They don't call themselves trolls either. Like, this isn't a world where people are like interested in like inclusivity and diversity and stuff like that. Like humans and trolls just don't like they just don't like each other. So
yeah,
a human wouldn't even know what trolls call themselves. Obviously, trolls. It's not even really a slur. It's just that they don't really have a positive concept of other cultures. So yeah, yeah,
yeah, I like
mhm,
that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
And it,
And
it's
then
mutual too. Trolls don't like humans either, so they each think that they're superior. So yeah,
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 what is, you mentioned the novel, so that's something we can talk about. Is
yeah.
this was a novel first, and it's been, the first book's been written? Like, what's the story there?
That's right. That was intense. I mean, this is a lot of my journey coming. No one tells you that they're in a psychopathic death cult. So this was. I wrote the novel. Actually, I worked with a lot of amazing editors on it. I found through my comics work, I had some sort of lukewarm interest from a literary agent. So I showed her the novel, and she said, "Okay, no, I will not take this on right now. But if you get it edited, um, I'll take another look." And here's some editors that we've worked with. So she gave me the editor of this one woman, Benet Nauer. And I don't know if Benet knows how much it means to me, the work that she did on The Band of the Crow. I mean, it was amazing working with her. I learned so much from her. And it's funny because when I like, you can get with novels, you can get a developmental edit or a line edit. That's sort of what editors do. And they're kind of two different things. A line edit is more like editing the grammar of the language, and a developmental edit is more like, oh, this character needs more, whatever. We need this arc needs to be stronger. The second act doesn't work or whatever.
Yeah,
So I talked to Benet, and like I couldn't even find her online. It was like she only had a phone number. That's weird. Like I can't find her anywhere. And so I called her up. She was like, "Hello, Arvid. I just want to let you know I don't really do line edits and developmental edits. I think that's freaking stupid. So my services are also a lot more expensive. I cost like 4 times as much as any other editor, and I'm booked for the next 9 months. So that's the deal." I was kind of like, okay, screw you. Like, what? Like, no, I'm not gonna. That's weird. Like, and then I hung up and I said, okay, thanks. And I was polite. Obviously, I didn't tell her that I was polite. So, and then I hung up and I thought, oh my God, wait a minute. She's booked for 9 months. She has a completely different, like, this is the person I want working on it.
oh yeah, good point.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. I was just like, she doesn't have anything online because she doesn't need to have anything online. She just, it's
yeah,
all from word of mouth. She doesn't
yeah,
care. She's not online because she doesn't care. She doesn't freaking care. She's got more work than she can handle. So I immediately called her back and I said, Benet, please, 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 I'll pay you a down payment. Let's work now. And it was great.
yeah. You know what that's like? That's like you found like the magical wise
Yeah,
drunk in the alley
yeah, no,
deep in
right.
the city or something.
Exactly. No,
The tutor,
exactly. No,
the
like, and that's
mentor.
right. No, she's not a name dropper. I think she's worked with some like famous novels. She's like not a name dropper at all. I never asked. It never came up. But no, exactly. It's like there's a saying in Sweden, like if you meet a disheveled old man wandering lost in the forest. Be nice to him. He's probably the king.
Oh yeah, cool.
So
Yeah.
that was like that. It was like meeting the king of Sweden. So, but that was intense. I mean, we went through like a very long editing process. And when we were done, she's like, oh, but I think this is fabulous. I think you just wrote a fabulous novel here. I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished. And
nice.
I was like, great. I can't wait to show it to this agent. And the agent was like, no.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay, what's wrong with it? She was like,
it's too male.
yeah, well, I think she said, it's a little, it's too dense. It's too dense. I was just like, yeah, okay, I could fix that. What, can you give an example of this density? And she said, no.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time.
That was the same agent that had at first turned you away or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, agents there is an enormous. I mean, an agent opens themselves up to queries. Queries like a submission to a literary agent. They'll get like 700 queries a week. Some of them. There's just an enormous power differential there. Yeah.
Did you see it was like this summer though? Because this does remind me of that. Is there's been a big discussion of people are saying like, where are all the male authors for fiction? Because there literally aren't any. Right. And then everyone's like, no, they all went to self-publishing, and it's kind of because publishing is like a death cult or whatever, like you're saying, and, or not that you're saying that, but it's like it's not.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it. Oh, I'm saying it. Oh, I'm saying it. But you know, like no one tells you that at first. So like I'd go to these writers' conferences, or I would interact with these literary agents. It's just like something's a little off here. Something. But like you blame yourself. You thought, I guess it's me. I just need to have a better attitude. Yeah. It must be me. Sure, me. I need to work on my pitch. I need to refine my I need to refine my elevator pitch. I need a better query letter. I need to go back and re-edit the novel. That wasn't what was happening. That wasn't what was happening. And then of course the abusive comes in where they say, "Oh, you're just so weak and so fragile. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry."
Yeah.
Look,
or like the gaslighting.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You're
exactly.
like, wait, you're like, are you guys like ignoring me or whatever? Like for some, and they're like, what? You really think that? You're so privileged.
Right. Oh my God. This is stupid. Oh my God. I can't believe you even said that. You're so gross. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So is Band of the Crow, was it ever self-published, or have you been wondering what to do with it? And then your first move with it is to make it a graphic novel. Like, what are you thinking?
I had kind of something broke inside of me in 20. I mean, the experience of the novel was seriously psychically, traumatically scarring, and not that anyone cares, but that is what happened. Something broke inside of me that will never be fixed or healed ever again through that process. It really came to a head. I did this TV writing workshop, beautiful, like Dorset, Vermont, beautiful. Dorset, Vermont, they had this big TV festival there, and there's this TV writing thing. And the keynote speaker, I will never forget it. They had the vice president of diversity for HBO Studios was giving the keynote address at this. What's up, Matt? For
where? Yeah, this, diversity was talking.
And I was talking to another writer guy, and she came up and said, "Yeah, we had a production, and there were no white men involved in the production, either in the writing it or behind the camera, and none of the crew were white men." And I turned and looked at the guy, and he said, "I guess we're effed, huh?" And we both laughed, and we just left.
Oh yeah,
right then.
Yeah, at least that's one where they say the quiet part out loud or whatever.
Right, exactly. And then it's funny, this was in late October. Beautiful. I'll never forget it. Beautiful late October in Vermont. And that was the first time I realized, wait a minute, there's something really, 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 there's an imbalance in the force. Maybe this isn't all me. Maybe there's something weird going on.
Oh, yeah. And that's good, though. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, it was great. It was unbelievable. It's just like, maybe it's not my fault. And then it was actually right around this time. It was right around this time. Like a week later, that's when the election happened in 2016.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's been like it was bubbling even from 2012, but it's been like, yeah, like 10 years where it's been
Wow.
this, the weird, like backwards woke stuff.
Right.
And now it kind of feels like it's ending, but who knows, knock on wood, I guess. But I don't know what that means. Like if it's like,
Right.
well, if you tried again, like if you could get it published, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, like every time someone says we've reached peak woke and ends up not being true,
Yeah.
personally, I do not think we have reached peak woke. I think it's going to keep on getting worse. All signs point to it getting worse and worse,
Yeah.
and worse and worse and worse.
You know,
Yeah.
something about it that's weird is like it's sort of tied to like communism because it's
Yeah.
they don't have to make money, or
Right.
I've heard it could be, you could describe it as like post capitalism. It's like capitalism worked so well and made so much money for so many
Right.
people that these super rich people don't even need to make money anymore. So
Right.
now all they do is twiddle their thumbs with this weird diversity stuff.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
and
Yeah.
and it all loses money, but they don't care.
Right.
And
Right.
so I just hope I hope like I'm like, yeah, like just I want them to lose money and care. And then
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
I
like
know.
normal capitalism or whatever.
I
And
know.
then try something different, see if that works.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. It's who said Praetor says Arvid is a tumor. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Totally.
you know what else
It's my
too? Like
skin- right. Right. Mhm.
it's been
Right.
it has kind of felt like the past year, like it wasn't, things weren't that crazy, or yeah, like woke was kind of losing and seeing some glimmers of some good stuff. But then it is like it does feel now like if Trump wins, it does feel like there's going to be a meltdown similar to 2016.
No, it's
And then
scary. Every 4 years, there is an orgy of violence. Every 4 years. Every 4 years. I think this started with Trayvon Martin, and it ratchets up every time. I am nervous about this.
I know I
I'm
am
very,
too.
very nervous. Yeah.
It was only in the last week or two that I'm like, oh, it does feel like 2016 again. Because I was like, oh,
Right.
this is not like, I think I was for a while. I was like, I think people on both sides are exhausted, and that's a
Right.
good thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then it's like, no, people are definitely getting worked up.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Right. People are frothy. It's frothy out there. I know. Yeah. It's
and then
scary.
it gets like 2016 was like, we'll find out who you voted for and we'll fire you if it was
Right.
Trump or stuff like
Right.
that. And
I
it was
saw one
crazy.
thing. There was like, this was for Black Panther, the movie. There were, out of thousands of reviews for Black Panther, there were only 3 negative reviews, and they were all in Australia. And I saw an article like, what the hell is wrong with Australia? Oh, you're disgusting. You didn't like Black Panther? How dare you? It's
Yeah.
just like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know what I saw
It's the weirdest.
this past week, even on YouTube,
yeah.
that there's a political ad in Washington State. Maybe they're playing it elsewhere, but it
yeah.
says like it says like it says something like, this is a public service to announce to let you know that everyone that your voting information is public information, and your friends and family
Wow.
and employer can look up to see who you voted for.
Whoa. Are
So
you serious?
just know that. And then it like ends, and I was like, wait, is that like a threat? So they're thinking
Wow.
that it's like Kamala's people paying for that to like scare people
my
to not vote
God.
for Trump, or you could spin it like maybe it's Trump's side being like, be careful out
God.
there or whatever. But I think
my
it's
God.
the first one. I think it's Kamala's people like threatening, trying to scare people,
Right. Right.
which is
No,
crazy.
totally. It is. I just, like at some like this too shall pass. Do you know Daniel Dennett? He's a philosopher. He's very, very smart. He talks about deepities. It's one of my favorite concepts. It's something that's trivially true, but it's a classic example of a deepity is this: someone who says, "This too shall pass," and that's
Oh, yeah.
definitely true of woke. Like at some point, yeah, sure, this too shall pass, but that's very cold comfort if you're in the gulags. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, like, great.
Yeah, like
So I
people
just don't
predicting
know.
if people predict the future and they're like,
Right.
told you so, but it's been 30 years. Like even
Right,
that's
right.
like David Icke with the lizard people
Yes, right,
ruling
exactly.
the world. He's like, I've been saying that this is going to happen for 30
Right.
years. I've been right for 30 years. I'm like,
Oh,
no,
he
you were
has.
wrong for 29 years,
Right,
and you were
right.
right for 1
Totally.
year, or what?
This
Like
happens, right.
it's more
Right.
in the like, yeah, he was
Right.
right for the last
Right.
8 years or something.
I call
guess.
it Jack of Diamonds because we have this game we like to play. It's like a card. It's like a dexterity, like reflex card game called Egyptian Rat Screw. And we have it like a house rule where if you memorize the card and you call the correct card when it comes out, you get it. So it's the joke is that we go Jack of diamonds, Jack of diamonds, Jack of diamonds, Jack of diamonds, and eventually the Jack of diamonds, oh, it's mine, and you take the Jack of diamonds from the person. So right, yeah, exactly. If you keep saying Jack of diamonds, eventually the Jack of diamonds will come up.
Yeah. Like a broken clock is right twice.
Right. Yeah. Right. Even a stop clock. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Bertrand Russell says that too. So yeah, but you know, like maybe we have reached peak woke. Maybe we'll look back and say, oh yeah, it's fading away now. I hope that's true.
There's some things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like some things is like the right kind of basically infighting, and then the left doesn't. The right and the left don't fight anymore, and the right just infights. And that's not even that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't mind that even. I don't know, but like your boy Zach, like I actually laugh at his stuff. He kind of he's coined the birthday party clowns. He's kind of a roast master.
Yeah.
And like so, yeah. I heard on the previous video he was like, people are like, why are you attacking your side to him? And he's like, my side is not the side that watches the middle-aged men that watch witch TV shows for children and then get mad about it or something like that.
Yeah, I'm of two minds of that. I don't know what to think. Like, on the one hand, like I get it. On the other hand, they do keep making these freaking lesbian space witches. I mean, they still do it. I saw Garrett Nerdrotic. He said something. He was on some pod. He was talking to someone who's like woke, and they were saying like, you're so triggered by this. Why are you so triggered? You're so threatened. Why you feel so threatened? You feel so threatened. And he said something really smart. He said, I just want you to understand, like, seriously, I do not feel threatened by this. We are howling with laughter at this stuff. So
yeah,
to me, I think I choose to be charitable with people. And I look at someone like Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic, and I think of it more as like Mystery Science Theater 3000. They're just roasting these people's nuts and just lampooning them basically. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea that the right is mostly infighting, that's almost, you could think that's a sign like that they won or something like, so
right. No, 100%. Yeah.
And then they start infighting.
Right.
And yeah, but yeah, like, I don't know, like the other thing, this is another your boy Zachism or whatever, but it's that the parallel economy is not actually a good idea. And I kind of can feel that too. It's like, ideally, it's like, you just kind of, you don't want to like win a little molehill and then be proud of it or whatever. Like what you want is to like, kind of just get shit back to normal. But it is,
I feel that way too. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, just one more really quick thing is like, I've wondered about this is like, so China during the Cultural Revolution, I feel like there was a point where they kind of the spell was lifted or whatever, and they're like, like that, we were pretty crazy there for a little bit, weren't we? And then like it's like, what happens to the people that were complete assholes during that time that like murdered people or whatever, that's the students that murdered teachers or whatever. And this was in a book. One book I read was kind of about this, and it was a person, they had to meet someone who had killed their like father was a teacher, and there was a student that was their age, but they saw him like 20 years later. And they just said that they had dead eyes or whatever. And I'm like, I feel like part of what happens is like the cognitive dissonance kind of like destroys you a little bit. And so eventually you might have, because it's not like it's not like the woke people would all of a sudden be like, oh, you know what, you guys are right. We're going to be done with this now. We'll just do what you think.
Right.
And then it's more like they're doomed for a fate worse than death. Like they're doomed for like the ultimate brain death of cognitive
100%.
dissonance to a level where they can't even function, and nobody cares about them or thinks about them.
Like in the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, life and death, the living dead. Yeah. I wonder, I got to say, I could not have made this leap without Oren. This is something that Oren and I decided to do together. I am really committed to the Band of the Crow. I know that I'm onto something with the story. Rex Mundi was like this too. I kept having opposition. I kept massive opposition. I was just like, I don't care. I believe in this story. You cannot shake my belief in Rex Mundi. I feel the same way about the Band of the Crow, especially because I'm working with Oren. Oren has tremendous integrity. He feels exactly the same way that like we all do about all this stuff. And isn't that amazing? Like he lives in Malaysia.
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
Literally on the opposite side of the world. Literally, I could like drill a hole through my freaking floor and come up next to the mulberry tree in the backyard in Shah Alam, Malaysia, where he lives. So, that's how I feel. If I have to sell this thing on street corners about the whole thing about parallel economies, I just don't know what else to do at this point. I don't know what else to do. Like, I
Yeah.
agree, but like, what else am I supposed to do? So I like this $3 campaign. I don't know what else to do to get the word out. I just
Yeah.
don't know what else to do. I'm just
And
doing the
well,
best that I can.
it's a little bit like if you build it, they will come.
Right.
That's and
Yes. Right.
yeah, and that's like good. Like that's like vision board. I believe in all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Right. Right.
just being in the position where it
Yeah.
if doors do open, then you have this ready. Yeah, it's speaking of Oren being on the same page and stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing that's kind of happening is speak of like just woke in general
Yeah.
is I've only kind of recently realized this, but it is like I was thinking that because I have some friends that are in my real life that are like woke and we just don't. I am almost like undercover or whatever.
Yeah. I know. I
But
know. I know, man. I know. I feel you. It's just.
I noticed that they don't like watch movies the way I do. And they'll listen to music, so they love music, but they don't like appreciate movies like almost all of them. They don't really appreciate novels. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't think they like art. Like they like to change the world, and that if you try to do that, that ruins the art. So like just a like whatever, like Lord of the
Right.
Rings or something. It's not propaganda. It's not like whatever. It's not this weird message like a woke thing would be. So they don't even like Lord of the Rings. So you'd be like, oh, like Lord of the Rings, like Star Wars. They're like, no, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? Like the activists do not like art.
This is something I've realized retrospectively about myself. I just do not have an activist personality. I don't ever I actually am religious. I became religious in college. I believe in God. Like, yes, all of these above, but I don't have like a religious activist personality. Like, I just find activists to be like incredibly wearisome people. They're boring. They're literal. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't have a sense of irony. I just,
Yeah. Well, I have one anecdote. Is when I lived in Portland, I went
Oh,
to
my
a
God.
I went to a comic book drawing club like for a while,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was all like woke people, and it's fine. You go in undercover, blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah.
But the one of the like wokest people there, she was nice, but it was funny. And she wouldn't have been nice if she found out anything about me is the
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
But I was talking to her about what she was working on, and she's like, well, I wanted to make a comic about affirming your friend, and so I had two friends, and I wrote a draft, but I realized I had one friend affirmed her friend 14 times, and the other friend only affirmed her twice. So
Oh,
I'm redrafting it so they both affirm each other 7 times.
right.
And I was thinking like, wow, that's crazy because for one, like it actually could sort of be a story at that 14 and 2 level. Then you have
Yeah,
the
no, you're
contrast.
right. You're right. There's a story there. Yeah, that's a brilliant point. There's an imbalance in the force. That's what storytelling is about.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and you could kind
Right.
of have this little
Right.
lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
But she didn't want that. She just
Right.
wanted it. What she wanted it to be. It was literally she wanted it to be like an airplane pamphlet, how to
Right.
affirm, and you read it for that purpose, and there is no story to it at all. And
Right.
at that point, it's almost like it's not really propaganda. Like if you think of propaganda as like kind of sneaking in a little message, and there could
Right.
be like you can do it well or have a good
Yeah.
story or whatever. And then that's like not even sneaking, and it's not even a story. And
Right.
so that I was like, man, that's crazy. And at that point, that's part of like the thinking, like it really is like weird because they'll infiltrate the arts,
Right.
and then the arts will cease to be art, and that is like kind of crazy. And that will almost like
Right.
activate me. Like I'm an activist against activists in art. Or
There's a filmmaker, Mike Nanya. He's very smart. He's on Twitter. He did a documentary about the Evergreen State College. I don't know if you're familiar. You went
Yeah.
there, didn't you go there? We talked about this. Anyway, he puts it really, really well. He says, "I'm an activist for people's right not to be activists."
Oh,
Which
cool.
I
Yeah,
thought was just
yeah,
like
yeah.
the perfect way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering too. Like, was having like an imaginary conversation of, oh, what if I did have to confront like a friend in real life who's super woke or whatever?
Yeah.
And the first thing you want to say is you go, "Hey, I just don't care," and like I almost as like a peace offering. But that makes them more mad
No,
if
you
say
can't do that. Right. You have to have
Yeah.
boundaries. Right. Exactly. You cannot. Right. It's all or nothing. It's a vicious worldview. It's called
Yeah.
conflict theory. They get this from Marxism. in Marxism, everything is about zero-sum conflict. There's a winner and there's a loser. And it's always winner takes all. Always winner takes all.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground. There's no compromise. One side destroys the other. That's woke. That's what they believe. Yeah, it's sad, but like you can't do that. They view compromise as weakness. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just listening to the Joe Rogan with JD Vance a little bit, like, or listening
Oh
to an
yeah.
hour of it.
Mhm.
And they were talking a little bit about wokeism being like a religion. And
Yeah.
they're going down like the bullet points where it actually lines up.
Right.
And it is crazy actually. But
It
one of them
is.
is like they'll both have the concept of original sin. Like Christianity has that, wokeism
Yes.
has that, but wokeism doesn't have a path of redemption, which is crazy.
Yeah. No. I heard some. Actually, I heard a Christian say this. He was infiltrated by wokeness. He's a Christian. I forget. I wish I knew. He's a very, very smart guy. I saw him on YouTube. He put it really, really well. It's what is it? It's oh my God, what did he say? He said it's repentance without redemption.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
wokeness for you. There's no forgiveness. There's no redemption. There's just eternal damnation. You can never, never, never absolve yourself of the sin
yeah,
of
yeah. Well,
privilege.
they've kind of destroyed the apology. Has become
Yeah,
something
that's right.
totally different now. Now
Right.
it's like it almost feels cliche to say because it's like so obvious, but all it is now is evidence that you're more guilty. Is if the apology they could
Right.
take it as a confession,
Right. Yeah,
the
right.
inquisition.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And denial is also evidence of guilt. So no matter what, you're guilty. Right. Yeah, exactly right. You know, James
Yeah.
Lindsay talks about this. It's fascinating. I went to a conference with him, and he had just sort of come out with this theory about it as a form of Gnosticism or Hermeticism,
Oh,
which is like an ancient cult. They call this the third influence in Western culture. I think it's totally right. You have the Greco-Roman tradition, you have the Judeo-Christian tradition, then you have the esoteric tradition, which is very, very powerful and is totally ascendant now. So, anyways, I just sort of talked to him briefly. It was actually in Tampa. Actually, it was in Tampa. It was at the convention. That was my second trip to Tampa. The
oh,
first
cool.
time, yeah, I was doing a like James Lindsay was just talking. I said, "Oh, what the hell? I'll just go down." Went to hotel room and just seen him talk for 2 days. I talked to him briefly. I said, "I thought that was a great metaphor, describing it as Gnosticism or as Hermeticism." And he said, "Oh yeah, thank you, thank you." And then immediately, like after I walked away, I thought, "Oh my God, wait a minute. It's not a metaphor.
Yeah, yeah,
It is
yeah.
literally Hermeticism. It is Marxism is a form of Gnosticism or Hermeticism." Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely like it even functions like a gateway to that kind of stuff. And there's some like
yeah,
Venn diagram overlaps where it can
right,
get
right,
more weird with it or
right,
whatever. I'm
right.
reading some of the chat too. People just kind of chiming in on some of the woke type stuff, woke
Yeah,
aspects. Thanks everyone for being here. By the way, there's 16 people. And
yeah.
so everyone, I need to individually shame each of you slightly if you haven't backed this yet.
They probably
It's
all
three
backed it, so
dollars.
thank you. Yeah, it is just $3.
Yeah.
Seriously, back it now. When you get these, actually, I just got them today. In fact, here they are.
Oh,
There it is.
cool. Yeah. Hold on. I'll make it big.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So it's $3. It's cheaper than you'd get at a comic shop, and it's $3 shipping. So it's $6 total. Or you can give the email that shipping's free. So Arvid, this is a like you could call it a gambit or whatever, but this is he's losing money.
That's right.
But it's the idea is to kind of do this teaser trailer to get the word out there, get the word started.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really good idea just because, well, the part of it too is like I feel like nobody's tried this yet at all. The closest thing is Richard Meyer did do a $1 offering kind
Okay.
of as an apologia
Mhm.
because for late books. So he
Okay.
did Jawbreakers for $1.
Okay.
And it is like, yeah, like it kind of works. Like I think it kind of worked for him. It's like he's like, sorry for late books. Here's one book for $1.
Yeah.
People are like, okay, like, okay, I
Can I just
forgive you.
make one thing that I'm doing differently? We're not doing sales. Do not expect a sale. This is the sale. We're going to do another campaign. The prices are going to go up. Do not wait. That is not our business model. If someone else wants to do sales, I think that's fine. We're going to do our own little thing here. Our
Yeah,
business model does not include sales. So this
good.
is
And
it.
that makes more sense,
Yeah.
for the price to slowly go up over time
Right.
rather than down.
Right.
So
Right.
people don't want to wait.
Right.
But
In
yeah,
fact, I know this is a problem for the clothing industry. They're addicted to sales now, and they don't like doing it, but they just have to have sales all the time.
yeah,
Sales can be a big problem. It's not necessarily a given that it's a good idea. So yeah,
yeah. I know
um,
it's the double-edged sword or whatever
right,
for sure. And even like yeah, like devaluing. Like if you do it for like
exactly.
original art, yeah, that can be weird. You know, selling it for like $100 or something could devalue something that later that you try to sell for 1,000 that you might
Right,
like that drawing better. But
that's right.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, what I was gonna say. Oh, so I'm gonna update this in a second, and we can see if we got any new
Okay.
backers. But if it doesn't go up, that means somewhere on Earth an angel died. So it needs
Right.
to go up. So I'm giving the chat like a minute or two. If you are thinking about backing this, definitely back it right now, and then I'll update it
Yeah.
in a couple minutes.
And
Um,
let me just say, probably everyone in the chat has already backed it. I am so thankful for every single person that backed it. You probably have all already backed it. So thank you to everyone who's backed it. I think we're off to a phenomenal start. I would love to have more. I know that we're starting small. Orrin and I have talked about this. We are in this for the long run. We're in this for the long run. When you get these in your hands and you see how beautiful this is, the art that Orrin did, I promise you, you're going to want the next one. So, thank you. I don't, again, I don't know. I mean, okay. Yeah. Parallel economy. I wish, yeah, I wish I had a better way of getting this into people's hands. But if I have to just sell this on street corners, I will do it. I am committed to this comic. I'm going to
yeah,
Karbala. That's a Shia Islam reference, which goes over great
actually,
comic fake.
you know,
I'm going to Karbala.
one thing that's kind of coming back, and I want to dabble a little more myself, but just the convention circuit is because it basically died kind of because of COVID and then
Yeah.
took a while to kind of come back, but it's sort of back now. Like I think Rini just did New York Comic Con and sold out all her books. And I know before COVID, there were people that they would just go to quite a few Comic Cons, and
Yeah.
that's almost like how they made all their money, and they would sell thousands of books that way.
Mhm.
And so that's a possibility for Band of the Crow. Speaking of that too, or like the
Yeah,
two
my
pronged attack.
I have had a different experience at conventions. I have personally never once made money at a convention ever in my life.
Oh yeah,
All
yeah.
things considered, all things considered. Um,
Well, because it is
yeah,
like you got to if you buy a hotel and the table
I think
and
you have to
everything
be
else.
really, really honest about the costs that you incur going to a convention. I mean, be honest about all of the costs that you are incurring. For me, a
Yeah,
convention is a little bit like this. Again, this is slightly contrarian, and different people could have different experiences. So check with other people. If someone makes it work for them, I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. I am all for people going to conventions if they want to go for it. This is just my personal experience, the way it's been. I have never once made money off of it. I've never seen people making money off of conventions either. It is very, very expensive and very time consuming. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, like yeah, Eric. I can't think of his last name right now, but so he does it, and he would tour. So he stayed with me when I lived in Portland a few
Okay.
times. He drew. He's drawing. The chat might know he's drawing the Stabastion, the spoof with the mermaid. That
Mhm.
book, Merkmaid.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So but he sells like it's kind of crazy, but so yeah, he tours like a rock star like year round, and
Mhm.
it's how he makes a living. So he's always traveling, which is not that's not always ideal either.
Right.
And then he sells prints, and the prints have to be kind of designed for markets. And they could almost crack down because you're selling IPs that you don't own, but I
See,
think they allow it
this
for prints.
this is exactly what I'm saying. No, like the reason they don't do it is because they just don't want the bad press for doing it. They absolutely could. They're not going to do it, but this is the thing. This is exactly what I'm talking about. But by the by, good for him. I think it's great. If it works for him, I think that that's wonderful. But it's just not what I want to do personally. And then
Yeah.
again, like, yeah, you're not actually really selling your own comic or your own thing. This is somebody else's. And for
Yeah,
me,
that's a whole different. It's a different like lifestyle almost
right,
doing it,
right.
and there are pros and cons. I actually like the idea. At least it's like a stand-up comedian or a rock star. Like I like it in theory, but I could see the negatives too. Like it
Yeah,
is for
right,
stand-up comedians. Like
right.
they get lonely
Right,
in the hotel room.
100%. Yeah. Paul Thayer, Michael Bancroft saying Paul Thayer makes money at cons. He told me he sells hundreds of books at almost every cons. God bless him. I think that's great. I've never been able to work for myself. I've never been able to make it work. Yeah, I've never seen it work for anybody, but that is just my opinion. Other people, I get it. Other people are really successful at conventions and make lots of money. Great.
You need like a harem of booth babes.
It makes a difference. It
Yeah,
makes a
maybe
difference.
that will be the tipping of the scales or whatever.
This is what I saw going on at Tampa. Do you remember, what's his name? Brandon Sanderson was there.
Yeah.
There's like a line around. Everyone's waiting to see Brandon Sanderson. And the convention hall itself is not very well trafficked. So what can end up happening is that people end up, you pay a lot of money for the booth and it starts to look like a pyramid scheme to me sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to update this and we'll see what it's 124. 126.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. That's marvelous. That's marvelous.
Two more
beautiful.
divine beings will be reached by the work, your beautiful work, your and Oren's just cherished artistic gift to the world is going to reach two extra divine beings. And that's good because it's not actually about money. I was like, yay, we made $6.
I just lost $6.
Yeah. This is about getting it out there. This is about reaching the people.
Yeah. No, thank you again. Thank you to everyone who backed. I'm serious. You are going to be glad that you got this. You are going to be very, very glad. I promise you. I know. What's up? Oh, it's so great. Here, Bancroft saying I guess what was the person from before was VP of sales at a big company, so I wouldn't imagine a skill transfer to everyone. Yeah, and a lot of times. What I want to do, frankly, is like, I'm skeptical by nature. I'm like, show me the balance sheet, show me the ledger. People can. This actually happened to me. This is just an example of what happened in Tampa. I'm gonna redact the names. Will all be redacted. Someone said to me, "Yeah, I sold out of my books. I sold all my books, bro. Yeah, what's up? I was just like, oh, great. How many did you bring? I brought 10. You brought 10 books. You sold out. Like, that's not good. Like, what does it mean? Like, what does that, do you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean to sell? What does that actually mean?
Actually, that's true with like every single print run in the mainstream too. Cause they do that.
Right.
Like even Scott Snyder, who I like him right now. I'm pumped on Absolute Batman, but he did say something. He's like, yep, sold out first, second, and third printings. We're on the fourth printing. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean though?
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
But I'm sure it's, it's sold a lot. Like it's like maybe 100K or more or whatever.
That's great. Yeah. God bless you. And like, I get it. We all have to juice the algorithm. We all have to like pump our chests and feel good about ourselves. I'm not knocking any. I guess for me personally, conventions, it's like driving a Prius. Like if you want to drive a Prius, drive a Prius. I'm not so sure that you're saving the environment, but you do you. You do you. Yeah. That's fine. I think if people want to drive Priuses, I think they should drive Priuses. I think that's fine.
Alex VRB is trying to turn the Nuge into the nuzzle. I don't think so, Alex. It stays the Nuge.
Yeah.
It's not suddenly a nuzzle. If it's the nuzzle's a little.
I know. Yeah. You actually hear something, Bancroft. Yeah, you made $900 at Tampa, spent about $7K. I think the most you're ahead of me. I think the most I ever made at a convention was like a lot less than that, like $500 or something. So you're ahead of me, Bancroft. You're way ahead of me. I'm just being honest with people. I have never made money at a convention. Yeah, I've had fun. Yeah.
Well, what about the other funny thing is like, so if parallel economy doesn't exactly work, conventions don't work.
Right.
And we might, we'll make some stuff to kind of, put some art out there and then we'll all just stop. So it's like art stops and then AI maybe takes over or something like this is a possible future of like actually no art is like a weird dystopian future.
In my opinion, this is a looking glass that we went through a long time ago, actually, with postmodernism. When postmodernism went mainstream, in my opinion, I guess it's just my opinion, but in my opinion, The Phantom Menace was a very important movie, like in a bad way, because everything became postmodern after that. So this is something that even predates AI, in my opinion. I
Oh
totally
yeah,
agree. Yeah, I think like popular culture in general is like really in trouble and has been for a long time. Yeah.
yeah. And it, but it, yeah, it would be like there's a in like dating. There's something called MGTOW. It's like men go their own way.
Right.
There'd be like that for art, but it would be like it wouldn't even be like the parallel economy because that's kind of a thing where you're like, all right,
Right.
we're just gonna make our own stuff and maybe just if you be it. But it would there could be something weird where it's like no, like people just don't even partake of art at all, and
Yeah. Right. Yes.
activists
Right. Exactly. Right.
activists are already like that except for music. Oddly enough, they love
Yeah.
music, but which is fine, it's good. But yeah, like it's weird, like, and I even think about that's true with it is like sad if you think about like no one reads books anymore, but
Right.
like comics even not that much, but
Right.
like movies is kind of a weird one, kind of because maybe the
Right.
attention span and everything and like getting more
Yeah.
TikToky or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, like the art of like the movie, like people don't care. It feels like an older thing. Like if you try and get a younger person to even sit down and watch a movie,
Yeah.
that's like hard to do. And it can
Right.
be. Have you ever watched a movie with someone, and then you kind of mind meld and you experience it through their eyes, and that can be
Right.
great if they're loving it, but it can be
Right.
really cringe if you sense them not liking it or whatever.
Right. Totally.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like you can kind of get like black pilled. Like you can be like, "Fuck, we're screwed."
It's scary. Yeah. No, it's scary. But one of my personal heroes is William Blake. He just did his. It's funny to talk about Gnosticism. He was deeply Gnostic and a Hermetist, but which is not great. But he had a lot of courage. I think he just said, "No, I'm going to like write my poems and I'm going to illustrate them myself, and I don't care if no one reads them. I do not care. I do not
Yeah.
care." I think there's success out there for all of us. I think you're super talented. Lucent would make an awesome TV show. I do think we're all going to get there. I'm not black pilled. I am hopeful.
Yeah, it is, and it
I
is
am
like yeah,
hopeful.
like it is funny because you could take the approach of like, would you do it for free because you really love it? Then that means you should be doing it. Or
Right.
any like then like that's all sort of true, and yes, I would do it for free,
Yeah.
and but you can do like a my yeah like a what if it's like what if you had no audience, and you're like what if you're in prison, and this is
Yeah.
what you do for your own self amusement is to make
Right.
up stories. Then that's like its own thing too. But yeah, that's like more
No,
of that.
right. Like you
I'm like
said, what if
I
there's
would
no
much
audience?
rather
Right.
I would much rather like
Right.
get success. Yeah, the other thing,
100%.
the way this works too is like I I don't know. Tell me what you think about this, but
Yeah.
it is there is like some dopamine aspects to it where if you once you put it out and once people start saying, "Oh, it's great, Arvid," like that feels awesome.
It
But
does.
that's like for even in this case, like you wrote the novel and then you guys illustrated it.
Right.
It's like if it's like 10 years, so 10 years you might get a little dopamine,
Right.
but it won't even be like then maybe like the what if like yeah Hollywood's like we're gonna make a movie of it, here's $1 million, then you
Right.
get a lot more dopamine
Right.
in another 5-10 years.
Right.
So I don't know. You know that
It- it-
or go ahead. What are you
yeah.
gonna say?
Here's what I was going to say. I think it takes time to create something. I don't think people realize what Star Wars was when it came out. It's only with the passage of time that it becomes meaningful somehow. And I don't think Tolkien said, I'm going to write it. I'm going to write a mega blockbuster IP when I write Lord of the Rings. I don't think that that's why he did it. In fact, I know that's not why he did it because it wasn't even a thing back then. I think we
Yeah,
need to get back to that. I am profoundly committed to the Band of the Crow. I know that it's great. I know that there's greatness locked up inside of it, and I
yeah,
know that it can get there. Thanks for having me on. Thanks to everyone who backed it. Sincerely, you're going to love
yeah.
it. You're going to be amazed at what Oren did, just based on what Oren did alone. I sincerely appreciate it. Just you wait. It's coming. It's coming.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad it because it was it was spoken of in whispers for the past even 2 years, even maybe that this cool book's coming out. Oren's a
Yeah.
great artist, and now it's here. And yeah, it's doing these numbers are just going to keep going up. It's still pretty early,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like I'm like, oh, I really want it to hit 1,000, but what 500 would be cool. But let's just
Yeah.
if you're in the chat now, kind of help spread the word about the idea too that it's $3 for the physical copy with
Yeah.
$3 shipping, and or
Yeah.
free shipping if you give your email, because
Yeah.
that's something that, yeah, like I feel like makes it that those numbers should be, we got to get those numbers up. Like that's the
Yeah.
line from The Wolf of Wall Street or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's just like I truly just want to make people happy. I just want people to forget about their all of this like darkness and evil and hatred. Oh my God, I'm so nervous about the election and like another
Yeah,
big year of violence
that
coming.
and that's
It's
like,
like,
this is like
uh,
real art, and like
right.
I wonder if there's
Right.
speaking of like eras or whatever. One is, there's a possible era where it's even a little bit a little bit detached from the audience, because if it's too
Yeah.
attached to the audience, that's like too
Right.
populist or whatever.
Right.
And we've had that, and it can be good, but
Yes.
like getting more just like, no, this is me in a prison cell making something that I love.
Right. Right.
Is
Right.
like we're sort of
That's
by necessity is part of that.
right.
and
It's
and
intense.
then yeah, and I don't know, there was one other thing I was gonna say, but I kind of forget.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's the
Yeah.
future, whatever the future entails
Right.
for
Right.
what
Right.
we have coming. Oh, I was gonna say it's art. It's the escapism being
Yes.
like so nice.
Right. Exactly.
Because
True escapism. True escapism. Yeah.
yeah, like not just like, how refreshing is it if someone's not trying to freaking manipulate your worldview with their art?
Yeah,
And
right.
like,
Exactly. Yeah, well said. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It's just a little island of of just happiness, just a little island of happiness.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
can actually, yeah, you can picture like someone being like, he, and then I'm gonna get them, like they're gonna think
Right,
this when it's
right,
all
right.
over.
Right.
I'm gonna blow
Right.
their minds, and then they won't be racists anymore
Right,
because I'm
right.
a
Yeah,
true
right,
artist.
exactly. Right. Like this new Dragon Age game, apparently it's crazy. There's like a senior forced to endure like a struggle session basically. You have to go through a Maoist struggle session about um misgendering people and pronouns. It's like the strangest thing. It's the
Oh
weirdest
yeah,
thing.
that's one where
Weirdest
it
thing. It's like
definitely
a
is
struggle session.
still, it's still woke and still super weird. But
Right,
that's like with movies too, where there is somehow like it dies and then it's just not dead because shit's still in
right,
the works or whatever for like
right,
2 or 3 years, and
right.
then it'll really be dead. But it definitely felt, it kind of felt for me like a death blow. Sort of felt like the South Park episode where they were like, put a
Yes,
chick in it, make it
right.
gay.
That was very hopeful. Also, look at these games failing: Dustborn and Concord, and now this new Dragon Age game. There is some, yeah, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. At
Yeah.
some point, Ubisoft is in major trouble. Warner Discovery is in major trouble. Disney is in trouble because their parks business is starting to go soft now. It's the only thing keeping the Walt Disney Corporation afloat. Like there are definitely storm clouds on the
Yeah.
horizon for all these
Yeah,
conglomerates. Yeah,
and I think, yeah, because I only know just a little bit about it. I wish I knew more, but I think they get their money from, it's like from these huge, if they're like hedge funds or whatever, like billions of
yeah,
dollars, and that's like, rich people invest in it, and someone kind of runs it. Maybe the studios, or they'll loan it out to the studios, and they put it to the movies, and then they need a return on their investment. So if they're
right.
not getting that might, the chickens might come home to roost in that, on that capitalism way that I'm kind of hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. The Milton Friedman thing. The Milton Friedman thing. Returns for shareholders. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
and there's like maybe a weird delay with that too for some reason, because that feels like, shouldn't they have like noticed that like 6 years ago that
right,
they were losing
right,
money? But and maybe
right,
they, I don't know, like it was like 6 years ago, or maybe it's a little bit more, but at some point it was the $2 billion superhero movie with Iron Man, the Avengers Endgame, and that would
yeah,
have been like, that's kind of the peak where they're just like, they don't even notice the bad stuff if anything
right,
bad's happening. They're just
right,
like, hell yeah, we're in it, like we
right,
got it.
right, right.
There might
Yeah,
have been a
Avengers.
little,
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
they
Go
kind
ahead.
of mixed the wires, I think.
One
There
hundred
was like an
percent.
association. They're like, oh, like they're doing so good, so much money, and they don't realize like the woke stuff is not making money though. Like
Right.
if, but
Right.
and it was happening
It
right at
was.
the same time.
It was really after Avengers that the pivot happened with Disney. That's what Eternals came out after that. They've just had disaster after disaster on their television shows. And they just don't seem to be learning that Indiana Jones movie was an abject disaster and humiliation for them. Like you said, the South Park guys are roasting you now. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, it is just, and then it is just pure, unrefined Schadenfreude. Just, it's like fine cognac. It's just like watching Kathleen Kennedy get humiliated again and again and again. Or all these sanctimonious woke stars. What was that one? The Acolyte. This is the thing. I understand people don't like, performative criticism and birthday party clowns. I just look at it as like blood sport. Frankly, I think it's just, it is just, I'm just howling with laughter and just, yeah. So,
well, and because you and I have a similar, in some ways, similar story, but there's like bitterness. There's chips on our shoulders,
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So. Schadenfreude. There's nothing wrong with Schadenfreude. In fact, this is what happened to me. I will never forget the day after the election on 2016, all of the weeping Hillary supporters, the feeling, I didn't even understand what it was. I was just like, what am I feeling here? What is this feeling? Looking at them like, why do I feel so gleeful? Why am I howling with laughter at all these people sort of weeping hysterically? Because I voted for her, you know what I mean? I voted for her at the time. I was just
that's
I'm not proud to admit it. I was just like, okay, of course we must vote for Hillary Clinton. We can't vote for fascists, and then we have to vote for Hillary. And then they've got some good points, these Trump voters, but Hillary, she'll take care of everything. That was my thought.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun kind of way to wake up or whatever. Yeah. And that was like,
literally, I woke up the next morning, quite literally. Yeah.
And it is like that kind of, it's that vision that will snap you out of it. It is like a person crying when you're wondering. That was what it was for me too, because it was, really? Like literally actually, but it was when Trump was just like, he was with 20 other Republicans or whatever. And there was me and one of my friends, we were laughing. We're just like, dude, he's funny. And we told my dad, we're like, we think Trump's funny. And my dad kind of teared up and he's like, I would have never believed I would raise you to say something like that.
Isn't that so funny?
Yeah. And my dad's now, he's embarrassed about that, which is good. Like credit to him.
Good for him. Good for him.
But yeah, he was like deep in it and he didn't know it. It's kind of like the boiled frog thing, I guess. It's
100%.
Or they say this too. They say like, you don't feel your chains unless you move.
Right.
Is the thing. So like people were like just so into the system. Right. And then if it gets challenged, or like your son laughs at Trump, God 100%. Forbid.
I think our father's generation got hit by a freaking truck with all this stuff. I didn't know what was going on. They were just babes in the wood. They were helpless against this stuff. They didn't know what was happening.
They're like, what you mean the news doesn't help me?
Right. Also, for me, one of the most interesting things, like cults have always fascinated me. Religion is a big part of the Band of the Crow. It's always a big part of everything that I do. It just fascinates me. It just fascinates me. For good and for bad, it does good things. It does bad things. And cults specifically, it fascinated me. This is the best thing about woke, is now that I understand it's a cult, just like, oh my God, this is the most amazing and evil cult that has ever existed in the history of the world. It's so evil. It's so evil.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
It is funny. Like, even like knowing, like I was saying, like in real life, I have a few woke friends and like, I deliberately don't want to like self-sabotage or anything like that. And I'm okay with being polite society. Like I want to be
right. You
higher
gotta pick your
road
battles. Oh, right, exactly. You can't just be like a flamethrower. Right, totally.
Yeah,
you got to pick your battles. Yeah.
But I can just picture in my head like I wouldn't even want to put it to the test. But it's like you drop in like just a little nugget. Like you're like, oh, by the way, I just so you know, I did vote for Trump. I hope that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And you just know like how it would explode everything, and it's kind of just funny. I don't know.
Definitely. Talking about religions and woke and stuff, a perfect example of that is feminism. I used to sort of laugh at feminism, sacred goddess service and stuff like that. I don't laugh at it anymore because I understand it. I really understand. It has been fascinating learning about feminism and what feminism is. It is totally, especially specifically radical feminism, but all forms of feminism.
Yeah.
It's been really, really interesting. feminism is totally fascinating.
Yeah,
Totally fascinating.
that one's like I agree. Yeah, and I wish I was better at arguing against it, but I just know it's instinctively know it's like bull crap. But it'll
Yeah.
come up to like I did. There was times where I've like told like I had a friend who was a big feminist, and we were kind of
Mhm.
almost like debating, and then I kind of was telling her like, yeah, I think it's like anti-art a little bit, and she's like, well, you're gonna die alone or something, and I'm like, bitch, I will marry the most beautiful woman
Right,
ever.
right,
You fucking.
right.
But then I'm like, God, I still got to do that. But yeah, then
Mhm.
I'll show her.
Right, right. Also, but that's classic feminism. That's not an argument.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
die
yeah,
alone is not an argument. Maybe that's
yeah,
true, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong. That is
yeah,
classic feminism because they argue in terms of social power and a lack of social standing. What she's saying to you is what you just said is unpopular. And I'm not going to like you very much. And women are not going to like you unless you saw Kamala Harris doing. Did you see that ad that they had? It was amazing.
oh
There's a
yeah.
guy, he's 6'4", he's a linebacker and he's a millionaire, but he's not voting. So the women pop the balloon. Did you see that? They're all popping the balloon because he's not voting and, or he's going to vote for Donald Trump or
That's
something like that.
embarrassing, I think. Like if I was
Right.
a woman, I'd be like, damn, we act too much like a cult ourselves or whatever. It's like a group. And they
Yeah.
say that's like the caveman genetics or whatever, that women are more like socially all about the group and protecting the group. And that's kind of why like they'll kind of be the ones who, this is why they debate why supposedly they shouldn't be able to vote is because women in general will vote as a giant block and it's it rather than like thinking through the issues or whatever.
Like when there's a dispute about a transgender child, 97% of the time, I think that's the statistic, 97% of the time, it is the mother who's pushing to transition the child and the father who's resisting it.
Yeah.
97% of the time.
And it is like social reasons why she's doing that.
That's
And
right.
that's weird.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Not good. Not good. So, anyway, yeah, Band of the Crow.
Well,
So,
and well, speaking of woke too, like feminism's been around forever. So in that sense, like, yeah, woke
it
isn't
has.
going anywhere.
It's been amazing learning about it. It all goes back to what is it? Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whatever it goes. Yeah, Jean-Jacques Rousseau and Mary Wollstonecraft. It goes right back to the origins of wokeness. I think if you had to like put a pin on like when wokeness started, you would probably go with Rousseau.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's where it all starts in a modern sense. It's like the modern form of Gnosticism or Hermeticism. And then immediately after that, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley has a response to Emile, which is Jean-Jacques Rousseau's one of his big opuses, and that's how feminism is born. Yeah. No, it's amazing. Feminism has been around for a very, very long time. It's been over 200 years of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Bancroft, good white pill here. Women are the most ardent anti-feminists. Yeah, that's true. They can wake up and be really cool too.
It's important not to get there's like Carrie Smith is someone that I really like. Janice Fiamengo is someone that I really like. It's important. My bag up 100%. You gotta wake up and remember, like, the worst thing you can do is get into like a war of the sexes. That is not the answer. Like, do not take that bait. Do not take that bait. There are plenty.
Oh
of
yeah,
women
that's what the
who see
feminists
about
want
this.
too.
Right, exactly right. Exactly right. They want that zero. It's conflict theory. They want zero-sum conflict because then they win. Then they win. Yeah, yeah. And that comment that she made to you, what she's doing is she's trying to make you emotional, because when you're emotional and you're angry about you dying alone, she wants to make you emotional and angry because then you're flipped off. The brain gets flipped off. And you're easy to manipulate. Yeah, you got to stay calm. Do not get
the concept of of a no-fly list for sex for men, like feminists kind of like that, and that's weird. And yeah,
right, they really do.
Like, you're on the no-fly list,
right? And it just doesn't work like that. That is not.
It goes with like whisper networks and stuff. It's like a lot of that kind of is the same.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And cancel culture kind of comes from that.
Yeah.
And the gossiping hens thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. There's this idea that, women are wonderful and that they're just men are bad and women are wonderful. It's just, it's not, they're different. Women have a different way of plugging into reality, but it's not necessarily better. than the way that men do it. Women have their own, I don't know, bad instincts or destructive instincts as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
18
Yeah.
people watching. I kind of want to update it one more time, but I don't want to kill an angel. I feel like it with 18 people watching, 19 now. There's might be one or two people who haven't backed it yet, and just know it's $3 for the physical copy and $3 to ship. So extremely affordable.
Yeah.
Arvid's losing money. This is kind of a marketing thing to get it out there. So take advantage of it. Price is only going to go up from here. 126 backers so far. Hope to get that number higher and higher and higher. And it is like a rising sea raises all ships kind of thing. And this is one of the best examples of something that could really go somewhere. And then that will benefit all of us too. Like the art's great. The writing's great. Arvid is tried and true too. Like he had Rex Mundi through Image, which is a huge long series through the 2000s, right? Arvid kind of.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was intense. And this is, I can't thank Oren enough. I worked on the novel for about 6 years. And then I actually worked with another artist on the Band of the Crow for 4 years before meeting Oren. I was ready to call it quit. I didn't know what I would think of something to do. I was actually literally thinking, okay, I guess I'll just sell the novel on street corners. I was literally thinking I was going to do that. And then through a mutual friend, I met Oren. And that's when things started to, turn up for me. So I am extraordinarily grateful to Oren. He is just the best. We're like peas in a pod. I sometimes feel like I'm another Shia Islam reference, which again is going to go down great. But I sometimes feel like I'm the deputy of the occluded imam because I'm always like Oren's interlocutor for, I don't know. And anytime that we're doing anything, he's not as confident in his English as he should be, but he's lovely and he loves being on streams, and I know that he appreciates the attention too. He really, really appreciates it. And he's 100% on board with what we're doing.
I've streamed with him a few times with you, and he's a great guy and a great artist. Yeah, so it is a really cool project.
Yeah, I am profoundly grateful for him. He is so freaking talented too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we got from one of your booth babes might have given us a little tip. So let me see. They say it went up.
All right.
Oh, it didn't go up. I don't think
no. Okay, the angel died. I got to be honest. I'm sort of preaching to the choir here. Every single person in the frickin' chat. Thank you for backing it. It means a lot to me. I would rather, the thing that I feel better than I have felt about my career in a long time. I don't care if it's a parallel economy or not. I just don't care. What's meaningful to me is to be able to produce this and get it to people that I know are going to understand it and connect with it and enjoy it. This is profoundly meaningful to me. When the campaign, the first night ended and whatever, I just had this profound feeling of peace. I felt like feeling of peace and serenity I have not felt in a very, very long time. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if we've reached peak woke or not. I don't know if things are going to get a lot worse or a lot better, but I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And it's just great to share it with everyone here.
Hey, by the way, so this is good news. There's a whole second campaign.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, so I updated the wrong one and I killed an angel.
Oh no, that was you.
But it was this one that went up. So this one's at 98. The other one's at almost 200. So whatever. That's good. These numbers are good. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
And like maybe it will get like 5,000 or so or something. That'd be so cool.
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful to have to go to press with them. They literally came today. So big. There's a great printer here. I am actively thinking about, talking about how to market it. I'm actively thinking about different ways of marketing things. So we have some other marketing things that we are doing.
Yeah.
In the future. So I'll just be honest with people and let people know how it goes with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Wenger, have you backed it yet? Back it if you haven't. I shame you. No, I politely request.
Please do. I kid you not. Please back it. I'm losing money. I am so happy to lose money on this. I look at this as I really want to give something back to people, to the community. I feel like for a variety of reasons, morale is at a really low ebb right now. It would feel profoundly meaningful to give people something that makes them feel happy, that makes them feel energized and excited again. That's what I want to do. If I can make you feel energized and excited and happy about crowdfunding comics and the resistance, whatever it is the hell that we're doing right now, that would mean the world to me. Please back it. I'm losing money on it. I'm happy to do it. This is for you. This one's for you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and we appreciate it. It is like we just want as many good books as possible, and this book's great. It can only help everyone.
That's right.
Bancroft's book is great too. Bancroft's in the chat.
Yeah.
So there's great. And real quick little mini shout out to Matt Wenger. Wenger hasn't been around too much, and he had a book he had done before Comicsgate, really, and I read it, and then he crowdfunded it, and it didn't do the greatest, and then that's when he left, actually.
Okay.
But that book is a lot of fun. It's called Aldrake, and I do enjoy it.
Great.
But yeah,
it's great. Yeah. Aldrake. It's hard, we're in a position, thanks be, I have the financial resources to do this. Or actually, we just did a big project, which is like really expensive. That's going to be exciting. In March, we have something really, really exciting to share with people. I cannot wait for that to come out, but that's sort of under wraps for now.
Cool.
It's crazy.
Well, that's like another.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of just like, just like throwing your hat in the ring with, and that way it's like a little parallels to almost like, other forms of art like movies or something where the investment can be kind of a lot of money. And you find a way to, make some of it back, and maybe some of it is a tax write-off 1 year or whatever, however you do it. Right. But that's exciting that you're operating in that realm more than a lot of other people too, where you're like some expenses, some like attempts, some like...
I'm able to do it. Yeah, I'm able to do it. I don't have like a swimming pool of money, but maybe like a garbage can. I've got a garbage can full of money, and I'm ready to spend it. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Wenger has everyone wants to check out Aldrake.
Okay, nice. Good for you.
Aldrake, it's kind of like South Park. Like, it's kind of funny, but it's kind of, I don't know.
Cool. Oh, check it out. Aldrake. All right.
Yes. Okay, well, let's end the stream and then hang out for just a second. Arvid will chat a little bit behind the scenes too.
This is good.
We'll get moving. But yeah, good talking with you. And I want to keep hanging and chatting. We'll just keep an eye on this. I'm glad to know that there's 2 campaigns and they're both doing the numbers in my head almost doubled. That's good.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, these numbers are pretty good. I don't know. It's like, we'll see where it's at when it's done. But this is not. This is like a little white pill almost. This is, like you were saying, this is inspiring. Yeah, it's working. 100%. Your plan is working. I think.
Plan is working. I would rather start small. I have seen this happen so many times. I have seen this happen so many, not just in comics, but definitely in comics. You have a really huge success right out of the gate, and you just collapse after that. It is much, much better to start small and grow and grow and grow and do things organically, in my opinion. And then another thing I've noticed in my career, I got majorly sidetracked in my career when I started doing for-hire work, I did a lot of for-hire work for a lot of companies, and it's very flattering just to have someone pay you relatively well so that you can afford to live off of just your writing. It's very, very flattering. But every good thing that ever happened in my career was because I took the initiative to do something myself. So this is about that for me, just on a personal level. I'm seizing the initiative again. No one is asking me to do this. No one is paying me. No one is offering me any encouragement, except for you. Except for the people who backed it, except for you, Per. So thank you. Thank you. It's all the encouragement I need.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and we met at the Tampa Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And you're just a nice guy. So I kind of like, he's cool. And then I didn't know he's like really a well-established, talented writer.
Yeah.
And I got reaped the benefits of some of that too, because you helped me edit one of my scripts. With some feedback. You read it and were very gracious and gave really good feedback. So that was like, I really appreciate you too. So it's been a good relationship, and I just want to keep helping you. And I want to, we'll just see. We'll see who can help who more.
It'll be right, exactly. Yeah. No, thank you listening. I always learn. Every time I read a script, I learn something. So yeah, thanks for showing it to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And end it like I always do. I just click on end stream and then it ends. So
All right,
don't
see everyone.
expect a video.
Okay.
All right, I clicked it and then I'll do my